Man, that game could have really got out of hand.
Well, like physically at the end with that scuffle?
No.
Like the Leafs could have ran up the score?
The Leafs? The Leafs. No, Chicago.
The Blackhawks?
Dude, look at all the former Leafs they have. Their coach is the former Leaf. It's a miracle the Leafs won.
That's actually sound logic. You know what?
Let's go! Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do. I'm having a great
Finger flick.
You're allowed to show up. This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills.
With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR.
Victory puppies. Iggy, here we go. Oh, yeah, dude. It's years of practice. The Leafs beat the Ghost of Leafs pass. How do we feel? No, not the Bruins. The Blackhawks have lots of former... Just go with me.
Warm it up.
Leafs win! 4-1 over the Chicago Blackhawks. That one felt good. Not the game overall. I mean, all wins feel good, but just the Leafs win. The way I did that. Enjoyed it greatly.
Real quick, this LFR is brought to you by me, telling you about me. I have a book signing. Indigo Spirit, First Canadian Place in Toronto. Adam and Jesse, Won the Path is the address. I'll see you there. I'm going to be signing my book. Which one? Sure. Let's talk about this game. How you feel about this game depends a lot on how many years you've been watching the Leafs. But also, I think a lot on how much you value Anthony Stoller's performance in this game. Because on one hand, did the Leafs play their best game in this one? Does anyone think that? I don't. It's not even that they were bad. They had a couple bad moments. Marner passing on the breakaway. But in his defense, it has always worked. Like dating back the better part of a decade, always worked. Connor Timmins made a very interesting choice that led to a really good Anthony Stoller save. Offensively, were the Leafs shooting the lights out? No. Penalty kill was pretty good. Did the power play do much? No. It was honestly just kind of the Leafs winning a game that they should have, which again, goes back to what I was saying. It kind of depends on how long you've been watching this team. Heck, you could have been watching from the beginning of the season. The Leafs don't always win the games that they're supposed to. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Chicago Blackhawks. The Leafs are supposed to beat the Chicago Blackhawks. Dude, they're miserable. Everything sucks about being a Chicago Blackhawk right now. There are a bunch of rebuilding teams around the NHL that would like to be a little bit better than they are, and they, I think, might be going backward. How many teams in the NHL are satisfied right now? Like, you know the teams that, like, they're rebuilding but nothing is expected of them, and then they rattle off a few wins and there's some good individual performances, and everyone seems like they're having a great time? Dude! The Sharks. Are they gonna make the playoffs? I don't know. Who cares? Watch Macklin Celebrini score a bunch of goals. Whee! And then there's the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard was 42.9% in the faceoff dot tonight. That actually brings his faceoff percentage from this season up. We talked about this on the podcast today. I don't even know how to say this. Dude, the best faceoff guys in the NHL are like flirting with 60%. You're a real solid faceoff guy if you're at like 53, 54, 55. Most guys are obviously hovering around 50. If you're 47, all right, you're below average. If you're like 44, 45, you're horrible. 29.5! Their top scorer is Ryan Donato, who, like, actually kind of an underrated fantasy pickup. But still, they haven't surrounded Connor Bedard with anybody. This summer, they signed a who's who of who? A lot of them are former Leafs, and it breaks my heart. But, dude, this is starting to turn into, like, a Blackhawks fans if I were you segment. But, like, first overall picks are not used to being on bad teams. Because growing up, they were so good that any team they were on was good. And now all of a sudden you're in the best hockey league in the world, essentially trying to save an Original Six franchise by yourself. The Blackhawks have prospects, they have some other young guys, there's reason to hope for the future, but the present sucks! And it's okay, like, you can have those seasons, but it becomes a little more complicated when the savior's already here and being a part of the suck. I'm not doing this to rip on the Blackhawks. It's like, there's a pressure with having a guy like Connor Bedard in your organization. Like, you're not allowed to screw this up. I'm mad at the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. Not because I don't like the Pittsburgh Penguins, but you're not allowed to waste Sidney Crosby. There are a few years there with the Edmonton Oilers where it's like, are you gonna do anything with McDavid or what? And they get to the Stanley Cup final, it's like, oh, okay. Not everyone can be a first overall pick and then go immediately onto a playoff team, transition into the first goal. Because it's a beautiful goal, but often beautiful goals are born from the other team doing just bad stuff. Good analysis. Good at bad stuff. Why don't they put me on Amazon Prime? That was great, wasn't it? I'm an idiot. Anyway, William Nylander. He's playing with Austin Matthews. That's pretty good. Matthews is pretty good. We sort of forgot that because he didn't score in November because he basically didn't play in November. And hey, where is he anyway? Behind the entire Blackhawks team! Look at this nonsense! Read the game notes! Watch a couple highlights on YouTube! 34! See on his chest, mustachioed face! I know the Leafs are in their black jerseys and it's a little difficult to read the numbers on TV. Seriously, how do the announcers do it? It's Austin Matthews! What do you do if you're Arvid Soderblom? It's like a bear is charging at you and you're standing alone in the middle of a field. And you're like, all right, well, I can't fight it. I can't run from it either. So my options appear to be stand still and hope that that myth isn't actually a myth, followed closely by get eaten. On this one, he ate. Austin Matthews, just yuck. Nice move to tuck it 5-hole. William Nylander with the feed. Ugh. That was Nylander's 11th assist of the season? That feels impossible. Feels like he should have double that, right? Why doesn't he have more assists? Oh, he's scoring all the goals. No, that makes sense. I get it. The Leafs go up 1-0 after 1. Austin Matthews would come into play again in the second period because he was a cross boy. He was certainly a boy who was cross. The mustache was mad because Connor Murphy and Matthews are behind the net and Murphy comes up high on Matthews, gets him right in the face. Matthews doesn't like that, and maybe one of the weaknesses to his game, sometimes he'll retaliate. Which, like, do any of us care? Do you care? I don't care. November, room! Make room for yourself as long as you don't take a 2-game suspension like you did against Dahlin. Room! And he's mad and he's huffing and puffing and he's threatening to blow the ref's house down and he goes to the box, very upset and fired up. Connor Murphy is like, I put Austin Matthews in the box. Well, what happens? The Leafs kill it off. After it's killed off, the puck comes to John Tavares, who has Alex Vlasic on him, and Vlasic is very tall and very lanky and has a long stick. And he's trying to take the puck off of Tavares. But Tavares did this thing where he just turns into a kangaroo. He just turns his back to you and protects the puck, and that's the end of that story. You're not getting it, actually. You can get it when I don't feel like having it anymore. Just kidding. And he says, enough clowning around. I'm gonna shoot it now. And he does! And who does it go off of? Connor Murphy. I can't tell you if the puck is telling the truth, but I can tell you that it don't lie! And Tavares puts the Leafs up 2-0 with his 11th gosh darn goal of the season. The man is on pace to crack 40 goals, and I just want to say, called it. Yeah, no, earlier this season I was talking about how bad he was. And he was playing bad. He was sick and not the good kind. We've talked about that before. But before the season, I said Tavares was going to have a real good season. There was a chance he could crack 30. And you might be like, well, that was a lucky one. And the one he got the other night against Tampa, he just threw it on net. It was a lucky one. Yeah. That's part of it. Last season, John Tavares had 29 goals and 65 points in 80 games. That's not an $11 million season, but it's still a really good season. Last season, John Tavares scored on 10.4% of the shots that he took. That's not horrible. There's a ton of players in the league who would kill to shoot 10% or more. There's a ton of Leafs who would kill to shoot that. It is actually the worst single season shooting percentage of John Tavares' entire career. This season, he's shooting 13.8, which is his second highest shooting percentage with the Leafs and highest since the season he got 47 goals. Now 10 versus 13%, that doesn't seem huge, right? Well, he's got 11 goals, and if he shot at last year's shooting percentage, he'd be at 8. Doesn't sound like a lot, but think of how many 1-goal games there have been. Over the course of an entire season, though, that's a huge number. Remember again, last year, John Tavares had 29 goals. He shot 10.4% on 279 shots. This year, he's shooting 13.4%. What if he shot 13.4% on last year's 279 shots? That would bring him from 29 goals to 38.5. So really, it's up to whether or not you round up. If you do round up, that's an even 10 more goals. It's a big deal. It's a big deal in perception, too. Because 29 for a player like Tavares feels like 20, and 39 for anybody feels a lot like 40. We call that boy math. Is that boy math? I think it's just dumb math. Anyway, John Tavares is great. Haha, it went off Connor Murphy. That was very funny. Now, you might have noticed someone gargantuan standing next to John Tavares when he celebrated that goal. That's Philippe Myers. Philippe Myers is on the Leafs. He just never plays for them. But Jake McCabe and Yanni Hakanpää are hurt, so he's in the lineup. He was on for a goal for. Hooray. The Leafs allowed 1 goal in this game, and Myers was on for it. But I don't know if I blame anyone for this that much. Because what happens here, Patrick Maroon, who's on the Blackhawks, and you learned that today, storms through the slot and he knocks down 2 Leafs. I'm sure entirely accidentally. I'm not actually sure. I'm implying he definitely did it on purpose. In the ensuing chaos, Lucas Reichel puts it in and only just through Anthony Stolarz. And even worse, Maroon gets an assist, and even worse, TJ Brody gets an assist. The Blackhawks are now within one, and please don't screw this up on home ice against the Blackhawks! And then the darndest thing happens, they don't. It's actually a sexy play, too. Connor Timmins, who's been great this season, but had an up and down game. This is one of the shifts that were up. He shoots the puck from the point, and it misses by a mile. Bounces off the end board and then bounces off the net and right to Fraser Minten. Right here in the screenshot, you can see the Blackhawks have no idea what's going on, and Fraser Minten knows exactly where to be. Now, maybe that's because he's a genius, or maybe that's because they knew this play was coming. They talked about it, executed just how they wrote it up. But the puck can come to you, doesn't mean you're gonna bury it. Fraser Minten buries the thing! I asked for LFR questions after the game, and we're gonna get to them. Everyone asked about Fraser Minten. He's played 5 games, all of them at center, 4 points in those 5 games, 2 of them goals. How about this? Out of the 5 games that he's played with the Leafs this season, he only hasn't gotten points in 1 of them. It's the only one they lost. Every single game Fraser Minten has played with the Leafs this season, and he's gotten at least a point, the Leafs have won that game. Kind of important to have depth centers who can contribute offense. No shade to anyone in particular. And that was 21 seconds later. We're in the 3rd period now. I skipped ahead. The Leafs looked like they were in danger. They were never really in danger. Matthew Knies gets the empty netter. Mitch Marner gets the assist because I'm really happy about that because it's his contract year and I picked him up in fantasy. So I got points off an empty netter. Very happy about that. And another noteworthy assist, the secondary assist on that empty netter, Philippe Myers picking up his first point as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Do you fish that out of the net and put tape on it? I don't know. I'm guessing not. And the Leafs win 4-1. Easy peasy, right? Well, let's see when we answer the questions. How blessed are we to have this goalie tandem? Dude, the Leafs have 2 goalies right now who would be the best goalie on... How many teams across the NHL? Honestly, how many teams? No exaggeration, at least half of them. And forget it, it doesn't matter about them individually, they have both of them. Here's how unbelievably important it is to have not just 1 good goalie, but 2. Here's an example. Let's take the curious case of the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken have Joey Daccord, who may or may not be Canada's goalie at the 4-Nation face-off. It's a big controversy. He doesn't have a passport. He's got to get one. Anyway, he's played 17 games this season. He has a 10-6-1 record with a .912 save percentage. .912 a few years ago wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Now it's well above league average. Guys are struggling to even hit .900. And forget the save percentage, he's 10-6-1. That is 21 out of a possible 34 points in the standings. How good is that over an 82-game season? I'm glad you asked. It's 101 points. That gets you in the playoffs every year. Every year. You're probably not even a wild card team at that point. You probably just have a top 3 spot in the Pacific. Oh, where are the Seattle Kraken in the standings? In the 32-team NHL, the Kraken are 27th. Because the other guy that the Kraken have in net, Philip Grubauer, has an .862 save percentage. That shouldn't be possible. .862 is unplayable. And just to drive that point home, Grubauer's played in 8 games. That's it. He's 1-7. Over a full NHL season, that is a 20.5 point pace. That's how hard this league is. Oh, you got Joey Daccord. You got one of the best goalies in the NHL this season. Earnestly, one of the best performing goalies in the NHL this season. Great. Who's the other guy? Oh, he's unplayable? Oh, guess what? You stink and you're not even close to the playoffs. The next living, breathing human being whose profession is goaltender, who's put on waivers, the Kraken have to claim him. They have no choice but to claim him. I mean, well, the other choice is just don't even sort of think about the playoffs. And that's just the Kraken. We've talked about the Preds, who made a move, a goalie move, and the Avalanche, who made a move, a goalie move. There are so many teams out there upset about both of their goalies. The Leafs have both of these guys? That's insane! Anyway, there were times in this game where I'm like, okay, this is a ho-hum game. The Leafs won, and Blackhawks fans, I don't mean any disrespect by this, they didn't look like they tried. Like, they really didn't. And that was illustrated by the amount of big saves Stolarz had to make. Like, he is kind of a flashy guy, and he's huge, And sometimes maybe that just makes the saves look bigger than they needed to be. But having a good goalie allows you to win boring, lazy games. They had a boring, lazy game, let's call it. The season is 82 games. That's so many games. You can't be pedal to the metal the whole time. You like to think that that's how it works, but life isn't a video game. These guys are human beings made of flesh and bone, and they break down. Sometimes you need a night on that's actually a night off, you know what I mean? And it's nice when those nights go okay for you. Stollers, fantastic. Bull, fantastic. They're both Leafs. It's absurd. Was it nice to beat the Blackhawks handily, like just a normal win without any fear? Yeah, goalies are like just like a quilt built for you. Like it just fits you perfectly. It's like it's got a hood on it. It's a Snuggie. I'm just describing a Snuggie. Do you miss talking about blowing it against bad teams that we should beat? Let me say this directly into the camera. No! Is it better for the YouTube channel when the Leafs do poorly? Yes. Yeah. Producer Drew, who is not a Leaf fan, is thrilled about it. I hate it. I hate it a lot. I would greatly prefer it if they won 82 plus 16. I had to get that last part in there. Now here we go. 4 points in 5 games, 1 goal and over 5 hits this game. Have we found our 3C in Fraser Minten, or is it too early to say? I hate to be the party pooper. It's way too early to say. Like David Kampf has been a very important part of this team. Connor Dewar, like, he had a nice hit in this one on Taylor Hall. He hasn't really done much of anything. I see Max Domi as a center in an emergency, or if, like, you need to blend the lines. I don't start any games with Domi at center. Not ideally. Here's what the kids are doing, because Grebenkin was solid as well. They're making it interesting. There are no passengers. Everyone has to have a thing. Alex Nylander, I haven't hated the way he's played. What's your thing? What is your thing? Other than every now and then you're like, is that Willie out there? And then nothing happens. You're like, no, it's not. You gotta find your thing. You have to, like, are you a grunt? Like Pontus Holmberg, it lacks a lot of things, right? But he's been in the top 6 and things have been going the top 6's way, whether he's scoring or not, or contributing or not, or he's putting up secondary assists. Okay, fine. Dude, you're on a line with Mitch Marner and John Tavares. What do you think you're supposed to do? Play good defense, dig in the corners, drive the net. That's what he's been doing. So you're the 3rd line center now, right? What are you supposed to do? Chip in the occasional goal. That's nice. Don't screw it up defensively. That's nice. Throw the body. That's nice. At the end of the day, Minten doesn't require waivers, and that might be the reason he gets sent down. But if he keeps playing like this, the Leafs are going to do that kicking and screaming, because he's a Leaf. Like, this is an NHL player right now. Thoughts on Grebenkin's play so far and overall ceiling for him? I absolutely love his tenacity. Maybe a Knies 2.0. Okay. I love Grebenkin. Let's pump the brakes. Knies is like built like a Jeep and aggressive and solid, but he's got high-end skill for a big man. Grebenkin hasn't quite shown that yet, and I don't expect him to. Knies had a transition from college, and that's hard enough, and we talked about it when he was a rookie. Grebenkin is transitioning from the KHL to North America, and that, I think, is more difficult. John Tortorella recently talked about Matvei Michkov and the reason he was healthy scratch, and it was actually amazing. It was a great explanation. And a big chunk of it wasn't just learning about the NHL, it was the language barrier. And Grebenkin, we know he knows backcheck, forecheck, paycheck. There's a language barrier there. Tortorella talked about like having a reset with Michkov. It's okay to have him look for a few games and explain things in time set aside to teach the kid. And you might have noticed after those healthy scratches that we criticized him for, Michkov's been maybe the Flyers' best player. Definitely been one of them. Do I think Grebenkin has the ceiling of Knies? No, not right now. Do I love the player? Yeah. Do I think he's going to get better? Yeah. Give it time. Let's end with this because it's silly and fun. MILF. M-I-L-F. Man, I love Fraser Minten. Never change, Leaf fans, never change. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. I'll see you downtown at First Canadian Place. Or, I tell you what, how about this upcoming weekend, I see you in Kingston.
Hey France fans and Steve Dangle podcast listeners, I'm Jacob Battaglia and I'll be joining the SDP with their live show at the Caesar Company right after a game on December 8th. Come see me and my teammates take care of business on the ice, and come see me and the Steve Dangle podcast take care of business off of it. Get your ticket packages now.